So the first part is done. This is where we would give the one-page rate sheet with the notes on it. We would give that to Steve. Once he does his review, usually within a day or so, you would get the rate sheet back with whatever notes or recommended changes he has made. So in this case, we have this Charity Church, Fayetteville, North Carolina. We got the process date, the agents, the person writes their picture dates up there. This is all the notes that we did beforehand. Here is where Steve has made the 3 changes that he wants done to this account. For this account, the data activity was already created whenever we did the first part. And you can see here, this is one where there was no notes, just says renewal activity 3/3/18. What we want to do is, since there are going to be changes to this, we initially did renewal notes from UW. We will now change it because there's not always necessarily going to be changes. Sometimes he'll give the rate sheet back and it'll say no changes. And so we'll just change it to changes to UW. And then we will create a new note at the bottom here. So this is going to be the next note that we do. So these are the 3 changes he wants. I will go ahead and highlight just the change. We don't need to worry about the adjusted premium part because when we submit the PCR, there's a comments area and we'll copy these in there so the underwriters, so they have a written down list of the changes we made to the PCR. So highlight, copy. The next thing we want to do, now that we have what his changes are, we've started the note. We're not going to finish the note just because we want to get the updated premium once we've made these changes. So right now we can go to this account in the account center. You can just go to the little icon in the top right there of the package area. Just click on that and create PCR. It should automatically default with this renewal date of the 3/3/18. The current term goes from 3/3/15 to 18. So that's the renewal date. Quote name says renewal. If you don't type anything there, it's not a big deal. It's just for if you have to close out of it and save it and go back and there's multiple changes that you'll know which one it is. Hit OK. Once this page is popped up, you'll want to click on Actions, Edit Quote. You're in the PCR now. You can make changes to anything, update anything, add anything. So the very first thing we'll do is reduce location 11 contents to 90,000. Risk locations is where all of the building and contents amounts are. So I will click on that. In this case, they only have 1 building. Whatever building number it is, you would just click on whatever the description is itself and then edit building, and it'll bring up a whole long list of everything about the building that is included in the PCR. It's got building and contents. These are the pictures that are attached. All we're concerned about is we're going to reduce the content. Scroll down, partway down, you'll start seeing, okay, so here's building value information, personal property limit. He wants us to reduce that to 90,000. We got that changed. We'll scroll down, hit OK. The next thing will be add systems equipment breakdown. So we'll go back over here. Systems equipment breakdown falls under the property section, and you would go all the way to option. Most of the property related changes would be under the property and options. So in this case, scroll down, systems coverage currently says no. We just want to change that to yes. Again, we're not making any of these other changes. Common ones you will see: increasing personnel dishonesty, changing the law and ordinance, water damage, the extra expense, earnings and expense. Those are also on this in this section. Loss of donations could also be a common change that you might see. But in this case, the only thing on this page was adding systems, so we changed that to yes. The only other thing was add EPL, which is abbreviated for employment practices, for 50,000. Employment practices is under liability. Pretty much all the changes you'll be doing liability-wise will be under liability and options. In this case, we're not increasing or changing any coverage. We're just adding a new coverage. So you go to Actions, Add Option. This is the box of liability options that are available to add. So again, employment practices, Steve will always write EPL. Click on employment practices, hit add. It will default to show 300,000. Whenever you're adding EPL, he'll just have the limit down. So that's really all you'll need to worry about. So in that case, we'll just go to the drop-down box, and click 50, and OK. We got the 3 changes: decreasing contents, adding systems equipment breakdown, and adding employment practices. Now that we've added those, we can hit rate. And so now this is giving us what the new renewal premium will be with the changes we've made. acknowledge, and then it'll pop up right here. Okay, 2,376. Since we made these changes, it went up. So this 2,376, that's where we will take that premium and add to this note right here. 2,376. Click finish on this note because we have what the adjusted premium should be, and then we have what the changes are that we made. Before we close this activity, whenever we opened and created the activity initially, it defaulted with this follow update. We want to go ahead and just change it to whatever the renewal date is. It was a March 3rd, that this activity won't pop up until March 3rd. Most times, we process the renewals well before the actual renewal date. So the renewal activity will never really pop open. We'll close it as we do the renewal. When we get the renewal, we will look and make sure that the premium matches what the PCR is we just did, and that all the changes that we requested were all done. And then the activity is good. We've changed that to say changes to underwriting. We've got the notes, the changes, the premium, all of that. And so whatever the most recent note that was done shows up here. The changes and the adjusted premium, that's what's showing in this box. We have the activity and everything updated. We've made the changes, now we just need to actually submit the changes. So once you have all your changes made, I would say at the beginning when you're first doing these, double check to make sure you're doing it correctly. Everything was done correctly, it's rated, so then we can go to action, submit. You want to make sure you click change, not approval, because approval will go to the underwriting and then they'll kick it back to us to where we have to go back in and actually make the change again. Continue, and then this next box that opens up is the comments or notes field. Copy paste all of the changes we made right into this description of change field so that there's no confusion with the underwriters. Once you have done that, you just hit OK. PCR is submitted. The underwriter will review it. The PCR will just sit there until that process date, this 123. The renewal will automatically process at the end of workday on 123. So we've gotten our changes in, the new premium for the policy. Once we've made the changes to cover for any sort of keystroke errors, because obviously in the notes down here, we typed in what the changes were, but it's very easy for someone to mistype something. We will also scan the sheet with Steve's changes on it, and we will attach that into Epic so that if the PCR comes in with something different, we can go back and compare and see if there was any sort of miscommunication or keystroke error or anything like that. So in this case, I have it in my email. Click and drag on the attachment, and you can just drag it straight into attachments here. Add attached description, 2018 renewal rate sheet with Steve's notes. And we just hit finish. There will be an automatic activity that pops up. It will be already default to closed. You can just hit finish. There's nothing you need to do to that. So then when we're quickly looking through attachments, we can see, oh, okay, there's the renewal rate sheets and Steve notes if we're needing to somehow compare what is in the activity or what changes were actually made or that type of thing. And so once you have the renewal rate sheet attached, you have the activity updated with our new premium and our changes, and you have the actual PCR itself submitted. The process for this rate sheet will be done. That's the renewal rate sheet process. Let us know if you have questions.